Welcome to Spilling the Tequila, the podcast that brings you the tequila spilling energy without the hangover. My name is Grace.
My name is Sonny Joyo, and welcome to Spilling the Tequila. It is our last episode before Christmas and New Year's. As we know, everyone's going to be on vacay, everyone's going to be on holidays, wherever you are around the world, because we love all of our overseas listeners. This is the last episode before the break. We will be back in second week of January, so not for too long. We'll just give ourselves a 2-week break because no one will probably be tuning in. This is an episode for the people that have nothing to do over vacay that can tune in. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode that we had with the famous Carol star from America that did a reading on us. Check her out. That was very, very fun, which is a good segue to lead into when we were doing the interview. Grace was obviously using her father's...
oh my gosh. Okay, let me tell this story.
Yeah,
okay,
it is your story.
So,
I was just feeding you into it.
So I have been in Bermuda and
welcome home.
Thank you. And it's just been a little bit of a all over the place time. And so I was in a rush to, anyway, long story short, I forgot my laptop charger. I thought I packed it, but it was my phone charger because a phone charger and a laptop charger are exactly the same charger, just with a slightly different cord and a little end. Anyway, don't get me started on Apple products and like all their plugins that you need like a separate thing for that. It's so ridiculous. But anyway, so I was like, shit, I have to record the podcast. So I have to use my dad's laptop, which is a Windows, and it's new. It's not like it's old, like Windows XP. It's a new computer, but Windows is just so like, it's so ghetto. Like nothing works. Skype shuts down like just like that. It's just like gone. I don't even understand. I literally log on and my dad's wallpaper, it's just black. And I was like, is this normal? Like, surely it'd be. I was imagining like a beach or a city or, you know, something like that, something cool. It's just black. And I'm like, something is wrong. Something is wrong with Windows, man.
I was just laughing at Grace because she sent me a message saying so ghetto. I'm like, what's ghetto? And she's like, my dad's computer, it's a PC. And I was like, ew, I don't know how to use PC. For me was like when you got introduced to the internet through your parents' home computer. And then since then, I've only ever had a Mac laptop. And at school, we only had Mac computers as well.
Yeah. Wait. In school, you only had Mac computers.
Well, I remember in grade 9, our school got like $3.5 million. I went to a public school, not a private school. And they bought those computers where it was just a monitor where they were see-through. You know, the first original Mac computers, they were see-through. One was hyper baby blue, one was pink. We had those at school.
In every classroom?
Not every classroom, but most classrooms. Like not in like
that is so rich.
Film and like not in like English or anything like that, if that makes sense. But like media studies, computer studies, like anything that you were always on the computer for. Yeah, we had those, and it was amazing. And I thought they were so I've basically been on Apple computers my whole life. So when you said when I have to use a PC, I'm like, I don't know how to use this. Like this is so weird. It's just very. Yeah, it's just different. It's just different.
It's just not it. It's just shouldn't exist.
We were interviewing, you know, obviously on the last episode, Carol from America, and Grace's Skype kept freezing because she was on a PC. Well,
yeah, exactly.
We think.
Well, I think so. I don't have any other answer apart from like, do you know the only good thing about this PC that I was like, wow, Apple needs this is before we interviewed Carol, I was just setting everything up, making sure it was all working, being very professional. And there is a little switch I'm going to show you live on this podcast. Okay, you ready? Here I am. I'm interviewing. I'm, you know, on Skype. We can see each other.
Yes.
Where'd I go?
Oh, wow. It's our office.
You know how people put blue tack over their webcam because they're like, the FBI is watching me or whatever?
Correct.
There is a little switch and you can put a black thing over it and disappear.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
So if you're laying in bed and you want to like make sure no one's like watching you when you're, you know, like me watching the X-Files as I go to sleep, I just flick it off.
I like that because I used to put a Band-Aid over mine, which is pretty ghetto.
Yeah. But I'm like, okay, Windows, I respect that. I think, you know, credit where credit's due. I'm not just a hater.
Apple and going into what you said before with Apple changing their chargers for computers and the phone. That is absolute bullshit that
It
they did that.
is.
I'm sorry, you're already rich. Stop being so greedy. It's just like, so my mate Connor, he hates Apple and he's a PC, but he's a gamer,
Mm.
right? You know my mate
Mm-hmm.
Connor. And I said to him, why don't you have an iPhone though? Because I actually think the iPhone is a really good phone. Like just in general, it's a
Yes.
good
Yeah.
phone, you know? And he said, well, I just boycott it because it's the only I hated Apple the day he let me just speak English here. I've been talking for too long. The whole world used one charger. So if you had an Apple phone or you had a Samsung or if you had Motorola or
Mm.
Bosch, whatever, they were all the same charger. Plug it in, you could buy. And I remember those days and it was amazing. That's
Yes.
how it should be.
Yeah.
And then one day Apple's like, you know what? I'm just going to change it. So everyone has to buy their own charger for Apple and just separate it, which I can understand why they do it. They're a business. They want to make
Mm-hmm.
money. That's fine. Cool. They made this. That's why my mate Connor hates them. But then
Mm.
they keep on changing it. So if I
Mm-hmm.
want to borrow your charger, when I go to your house and I have my laptop, if I want to borrow your charger to charge my laptop, I can't use Grace's laptop Apple charger because her laptop's newer than mine.
Mm.
That frustrates me.
Yeah.
Like
It's
that
annoying.
frustrates me. It's very like
And
stop doing
also
that.
when they stop giving you like the you know how when you used to buy an iPhone,
Mm,
they would give you the actual like power bank thing to plug into the wall, like the wall socket bit,
mhm.
and they would give you the USB cord. But now
Yes.
they just give you the cord, and it's like, oh no,
Uh,
if you've lost your wall socket thing, like another $70, you need to buy a new one. I'm just like, I just bought a $1,200 phone, a $2,000 laptop. Like, you can afford it. You can afford me to give me a wall socket thing. Like, stop it. Or do you remember the days you buy a phone, they used to give you a pair of headphones with it?
I know. No, not
Cheap,
anymore. Do
stingy.
you know what? This all happened after Steve Jobs died. Whoever took over has just they're just putting Apple. Apple used to be this most exciting thing, like the new phone coming out. Now they're just like money, money, money. And when it just
Mm,
becomes that, it's like it's not even for the people anymore. Like we are spending, and like anyone that's bought Apple, it's not cheap. It's
mm-mm.
not cheap at all. It's not even midway. It's very high end expensive. So it's like I don't mind paying that, but make sure it works, last. Stop changing cords on me. It's just too much to keep up. And there's, yeah, I don't know. For all the listeners out there doing a poll, are you PC or are you Apple? Are you
Mm.
happy where Apple's gone now? Or are you with us and says Apple needs to reel it back in? Reel it back in, Apple.
Mm,
You're
mm,
hearing this? Give me the new iPhone 15.
mm.
Because
Agreed.
I'm
So
on the
I can
11.
change my opinion on our very public podcast.
All right. So there's our whinge about PC and Apple, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Like a lot of
Yes,
people.
I
There's
agree.
no third one, is there? No.
No,
No. Okay. Yeah.
Google, but no.
Did you want to go next, or do you want me to tell my story that I had for you and the listeners for the holiday break?
Oh, no, you tell your story
All right, I'll
first.
tell my story. So I've got a story for everyone. Anyone that knows me, I am a storyteller. Like my stories are true, and I'm good at telling stories. But put it this way, my stories are so crazy that it's like if you heard them, you'll just be like, this just sounds so made up. For example, I think I messaged Grace and a couple of my friends the other day that I had to get my birth certificate for Grace because we were doing the interview with the psychic astrology with Carol, and
Mm.
they just need to know, your date of birth, time you're born. Anyway, on my birth certificate, I've had 5 name changes. That's not my story. I'm just saying, when you hear stories from me, it sounds made up. I've actually
They're
had
not.
5 name changes, and like Grace has seen it, and it's just like that sounds so insane. I don't know why. My old housemate thought I was in witness protection when I went to Canada when I was 19. I got my
Well, it
first
makes
pass. I know.
sense.
I got my first passport, and Liam was like, Sonny, look, I don't want to ask questions, but for me signing this document, like, am I in danger? I'm like, danger? For what? It's my passport. And he's like, you've got a lot of birth certificates and 5 name changes. Like, that's not normal. You don't have to tell me why, but that's not normal. And I couldn't even give him the answer. I don't even know why I've had 5 name changes, but you've seen it.
I did see it. And the one thing I want to say about your name changes is
So
because you have told me the story of your name changes and how they all came to be. And it's a very interesting story. But You always failed to mention that at one point in your life, your name wasn't Sunny. It was Sony,
Sony.
like Sony
Like so
PlayStation.
PlayStation. Sorry, listeners, that is so funny.
Sony.
Sony PlayStation. I don't even
So
think I
good.
got born in the late 80s. Sony PlayStation didn't exist.
It's so funny. It's so good.
Anyway,
Please
anyway,
continue with
guys, so
your
we have
story.
this segment every now and then on Spilling Tequila. We have all different types of segments just to give you variety, entertainment. And this one's called My True Story. So every now and then, Grace will have one, I'll have one, just so you get to know us more. But it's also great hearing other stories because how I work is you might hear the story and then share the episode with someone else or tell the story yourself at a party. Because I know when I hear a story that's so insane from someone, let me tell you, I'm the person at the party. I'm like, oh my God, did you know that blah, blah, blah? And I'll describe the whole story. And that's how I make a lot of friends from having good stories.
Mm.
So maybe you should share this story. Anyway, cut the story short. When I grew up in Bundaberg, which is in kind of like North Queensland, but not North Queensland. For our listeners overseas, it's very hot there. You might know it as Bundaberg rum. Yes, Bundaberg rum is from where I'm from. I went to Bundy High, Bundaberg High. Couldn't get any more Aussie than that. Cut the story short, I used to live 20 kilometers outside of town. The closest shopping center to me was Sugarland, and that was about 15 to 20 kilometers away. So back then, my mum didn't have her license, and my dad had his license. And my dad was very old school, where he wouldn't drive me to school because it was a school bus. But I got my first job at 14 and 9 months, and he said to me, he wouldn't drive me, and he said, "Well, back in the day, I had to walk 70 kilometers to get to school." You know how people say that, and it's just like, well, that's
Hmm.
because you didn't have cars back then. There was
Yeah,
no technology, like there
that's
was,
not
but I'm
my
being
fault.
yeah, it's not my fault. Why? Just because you suffered, don't. Why would you want to make me suffer? So anyway, he made me suffer, and I had to ride my bike to go to my friends' homes, which is like 20 kilometers away.
Mm.
I lived out of town, so when I'm riding 20 kilometers, there's no footpath or anything. It's a highway, bush on this side, bush on that side, kangaroos going left, right, and center. But the scariest thing, which my brother still laughs to this day, is that you know those big semi-trailer trucks. Anyone
Yeah.
that knows those trucks, if you drive cars, they're fucking scary. They're
Mm.
so scary because they're so big. And if you go past one, they suck you in. They actually suck you in. They go past at 120 kilometers per an hour and they suck you in. So every time I was riding on the highway like this as a 14-year-old kid
Yeah.
in 40-degree weather, I would hear a truck coming from behind me. So I would get off the side of the road and just be on the grass and stuff with bush hitting my legs because I
Mm.
didn't want the truck to suck me in.
Yeah.
I was scared. Anyway, leading into the story, I remember I was riding home one day from Sugarland where I worked, and I would have been 15. And in October, anyone that lives in Australia will know this. We have a
Oh
bird called.
no.
We have a
Oh
huh?
no. Oh
What?
no. I just
We
know
have a
what's gonna happen.
we have a bird called magpies, and magpies like swoop you and stuff. And I'm like, shit, they swoop you here. And I always remember being on the highway and I'd see cars going past and they'd be laughing because I would see the shadow gun out and hear it. And I'm like, oh, and I was embarrassed, but also scared on the highway. And this highway went for ages. So that magpie will just hunt you
Mm.
down for 3 kilometers. They're not giving
Mm.
up. Any Aussie out there, like our birds are vicious here. They're just protecting their babies, ladies and gentlemen. They are doing the right thing, but they are
Oh.
scary. Anyway, cut the story short. I took it down this road off the highway where I thought magpies wouldn't be, and there wasn't any. So I'm riding my bike, and as I'm going like this, the magpie comes, and I see the shadow, and it's swooping me, and I heard its beak smash into my
Oh.
helmet, and I'm
Oh.
like this, and I was like screaming, but also not crying, but yelling loud because I thought that would scare it away. Go,
Yeah.
like that, ducking down. But what I'm more embarrassed is because I'm on the highway, cars are coming towards me this way. So I can see people's faces going past and they're pointing and laughing at me. Right? And I get it.
Oh.
I get it. If I was in the car and I seen you getting attacked by a magpie, I would be laughing too. I get it. I get it. I can take it. So
Yeah,
I'd be
but
getting
it's still
attacked by a
sad.
magpie. Anyway, this magpie was attacking me. Kid you not, guys. Very scary, this story. It's like reliving it right now. The magpie smacked into my face, hit my face. My handlebars twisted around like this when I'm riding my bike.
Yeah.
I went like this. I fell off my handlebar, face deep, like diving into the ocean, hit my tooth here, chipped it. This is all that happened. And then the side of my face like hit the ground and scraped it. And then this side of my face here, it happened so fast, was completely numb. so numb that it was cold that my face was ripped off. And all I could
What?
feel, yes, all I could feel was blood just dripping down here, going down my neck. Now, anyone that's ever been in a situation like a car crash or something, it happens very, very fast. So
Mm.
when I was laying there on the road and the car went past, I came to realization that I didn't want to move because I was like, I've just ripped off my face. This magpie's attacked me. I fell off my bike. I've just hit the thing. I've hit my two, and now I can feel blood pouring down, and my face is numb. I can't even feel it. My face is like cold, like ice, and I've never had that feeling
Oh my
before. So
gosh.
I went to get the
That's
blood, and I
so
was
scary.
so scary, Grace, right? I'm 15, and I got my hand like this, and I put it to get the blood like this, and I was like waiting for a car to stop with ambulance. And when I went like this, I was like, what is that? And I touched it. Guess what was on my face? A
What?
Macca's 30-cent cone. A
No.
Macca's ice cream, a 30-cent cone. So what I'm trying to say is, when the magpie was attacking me, the car went past, and whoever was in that car on the highway said, "Oi, I dare you to chuck your 30-cent Macca's ice cream at that guy getting attacked." So someone's wind down their window, got their ice cream, pegged it at me as they
All
went
at
past
this
so
one
fast.
time.
All of this one time, and that person who pegged it at me, it happened to hit my face, which I thought was the bird. And I went over my handlebar, smashed on the ground, and thought my face was ripped off and melting. But really, it was the ice cream on my face melting down. And the car that did it never stopped. So they obviously would have been scared. So what I'm trying to say is, I thought I got my face ripped off by a magpie in an accident, but it ended up just being a Macca's 30-cent cone that someone pegged at me. I cannot believe I've never told you that story.
I can't believe you haven't
It
either.
is my brother's favorite story ever that I've ever told him. And I just remembered it the other day. My brother's listening to this. Hello. And for all the listeners that are listening to this, I
That is
hope you enjoyed it.
so funny.
Like I said, anyone that knows me, if you're a listener for a long time now, I have a lot of bad luck. Got attacked by a sausage dog, chopped off this finger. Everything happens to me, so I'm just used to it now. I'll take what's to come with me, you know. Apparently, when you get this lot of bad luck, you get a lot of good luck. So I'm grateful for that.
Karma.
And when it
Yeah.
happens with that karma, boy, am I
You
gonna
and I
have it.
have a lot of like similar stories though, like attacked by animals, and I've, fallen into a ditch on the side of the highway, getting eaten by ants, bull ants. Like we have a lot of similar things like that. Like unbelievable.
I think we're a little bit like I would say awkward. Are we
Yeah, I don't
awkward?
know. It's just
Dorky. We're
like, how do we end
dorky.
up in those situations? Maybe because people know it'll make a good story when we get older. And
How
they're
did we
like,
survive
yeah,
growing up in Australia? Like
I don't know.
everything kills you here. Every animal. And then look, our listeners are listening like, what do you mean Grace fell down a ditch and got attacked by the ants? What are these
Yeah.
magpie birds? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
look,
Exactly.
you live in this beautiful country. And the one thing that my dad taught me is like, it's not just our country or our world. You also share it with the animals and insects. So, shut your door, get a fly screen. You can do things like that, but don't kill them. It's just, you got to live amongst them.
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
So
What about,
true.
my last one is, which is not a very long story. It's a good segue, is, ibises.
Yeah.
So anyone that doesn't know what an ibis bird is, if you don't have them overseas, I don't even know. Are they Australian like native?
I don't know.
Hey Siri, is ibises birds Australian native? Never mind. Siri's
No.
on holidays already. Cut the story short. So ibises are a very big bird in Australia. They look like they're from the dinosaur times, I would say. Really long
Hmm.
beaks, really, really tall. But obviously over time they've learned to live in the cities. And the cities because they eat out of bins and all these
Ugh,
things.
yuck.
And they're really, really gross. Anyway, cut the story short. I was in Brisbane, Main Street of Brisbane, many, many years ago when I lived in Bundy. And I ordered myself Hungry Jacks. I know that's
Oh,
how I know.
oh
So
no.
weird, right? And I was like, I think it was Queen Street Mall. That's where I was.
Hmm.
And I ordered my
I
burger. I was
can
so
see the Hungry
hungry.
Jacks.
Yeah. And I got my Coke and I put it to the side. And then when you sit on a seat, there's like plants behind you and stuff, like on a main
Yeah.
street. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting there. This is bad, but it was back when I smoked cigarettes because I thought I was cool. So I whipped out because no one smokes anymore. This is many, many years ago. I whipped
Mm.
out a cigarette. And as I whipped out the cigarette, an ibis bird come out of the trees behind me, grabbed my takeaway Hungry Jack. By the way, Hungry Jack's, guys, is Burger King, but we call it Hungry Jackson of Australia, just for anyone that's confused from overseas. It grabbed my Hungry Jack's bag and ran up the street. and I haven't eaten it. So I'm running up Queen Street, the main street in Brisbane, chasing an ibis bird that has my takeaway Hungry Jacks. And
Mm.
as I was running, I realized that I'm chasing a bird that has my lunch. And I realized that everyone had their phones filming me. And I got embarrassed and went, fuck, this is actually embarrassing. So I turned
Yeah.
around and acted as if it didn't happen. And I
Just
walked
pretend it never happened. Just
I walked back
casual.
into Hungry Jack's and I ordered the same thing again.
Yeah, I would too. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it might have rabies. Even
No,
if
I
you
didn't
did get it
catch
back.
it.
No,
I
but even
know.
if you did
Oh,
get it back,
yeah. True.
diseased, you know?
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh God,
That guy
birds.
got
Hate
arrested
them.
in Sydney. Did you see that for catching the ibis and eating it?
He,
Anyway,
uh, he deserves to be arrested.
he was. He went to jail, I think,
Yeah,
or whatever he
good.
got. Yeah.
Good, because he's going to be diseased and everything. He
Oh.
needs to be quarantined. That's what he needs to be, quarantined in prison.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I'm glad you
I
enjoyed
have
that story, Grace.
I did, and I have a new little section for our podcast too
Oh,
to
look
finish
at
up,
this
which
for the end of the
is
year.
celebrities. They're just like us.
Wait,
So,
okay. Yeah.
so I read a story, an interview with Dakota Johnson, the
Oh, yeah.
actress.
I know. She's
Yes,
very
I love
pretty.
her. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Very
She's so
underrated, by the
cool.
way.
Engaged to Chris Martin of Coldplay, Gwyneth Paltrow's ex-husband.
Shut up. When
Also,
did this happen?
oh, they've been
Happen?
together for a long
Happen?
time.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Anyway, I read this interview and I was like, oh my God, this sounds like me. This sounds exactly like me. And I'm going to read you what she said in this interview. And you can tell me, Sunny, if I'm crazy and a narcissist and I think I'm like Dakota Johnson,
Yeah.
or if this is actually me. Okay, you ready?
Okay, here we go.
If I'm not working, if I have a day off on Monday, then I will sleep as long as I can. Sleep is my number one priority in life. Then the interviewer asks her, how many hours a night do you aim for? She replies, I'm
That's
not
enough.
functional if I get less than 10. I can easily go 14 hours. Now, am I insane or is that me?
No, okay. That is definitely you. I'm sorry, I've been laughing for so long now because Grace and I are very opposite people, but also the same in some aspects. But yes, that is you,
Yeah.
Grace. I'm not a very good sleeper. I'm like about 5 to 6 a night. But I'm very easy to wake up. Grace just loves sleep. To the point that when we did the podcast today, I said, like, we've got to do it at this time. And I was like, did you just wake up 10 minutes beforehand? She's like, no, I got up an hour ago. Like, I can predict, like, any minute she can get, she'll just get as much as she can get.
Yeah. Like if I have to
Sometimes,
get up, I count backwards at what time I have to go to sleep that night in order for me to get a minimum of 8. If I get less than 8, I'm not a functional human being. But why I really wanted to mention this on the podcast was not only because I just read that and I was like, that's amazing. Like I want 14 hours of sleep a night. But people shame I think there's this sense of shame around people who get a lot of sleep. It's sort of like, oh, yeah, you sleep all the time. Like, it's this insinuation that you're not hustling or you're not working or you're lazy because you sleep all the time or whatever. And I'm with Dakota Johnson and reclaiming sleep because if I sleep a lot, the 10 hours that I am awake, the 12 hours that I am awake, I'm going for it, man. And we need to stop shaming people for getting a lot of sleep. Like they're not out there doing stuff. That's bullshit. And I that's what I want to end the year on is making sleep cool again. Making rest cool again. Because
like,
everyone is like, oh, work so hard, hustle, hustle, hustle. I need my day job, then I need my side hustle, then I need my morning hustle, then I need my lunchtime hustle. I'm like, no, no, no. We also need time to rest.
look,
And
I don't.
that's my new philosophy on life.
I don't shame you for sleeping. I just think, you know what it is. Like I said, we're just opposite in each to their own. I just don't sleep much at all. But
Mm.
I'm saying for you, when you're saying you need 8 to 10 hours, what I want to know is, are you actually asleep for that many hours? Or is
Yes.
that really,
Yes.
wow? But
Yes.
what I think is crazy is because I have a lot of friends like you, like a lot that do sleep as much as you. And you, Connor, one of my mates that has that much sleep as well. They're all like like you in the morning, for example, you've had that sleep. You're like Mr. Burns when you wake up.
No,
Like your
I'm
arch,
not.
you're
You
arched
think
over,
I
and
am.
you're
You
like, I
think
just need
I
to get,
am.
I just need my
I'm
coffee. And I'm like, you've just
actually
had
not.
10 hours sleep. Why? You should have energy. Why are you like so slow? Like,
I'm not. You think I am.
you
You have
are.
you have this vision of me. I get up and
And you
I
walk
work
so
out.
slow with your house slippers.
I need my coffee, yeah.
Yeah, see? So I'm
But I'm
saying
not gonna like but I live alone. So who am I jumping up to go, good morning? Like I'd be insane.
I don't know. It's just I feel like it makes you guys more slow and tired.
No, I don't.
My theory.
This is where the world is shaming people like me. See, you're not even
Oh,
thinking it because
are
it's
you a
just
new diagnosis now?
society.
Hi, my name's Grace, and I suffer from getting sleep shamed.
Well, everyone else is saying I get shamed for this, I get shamed for that, I get shamed for this. Well, I do get shamed for a lot of sleep, and I'm reclaiming the sleeping. That's what I'm
What do you
doing.
like about it though? I find it really boring.
Well, you're obviously not asleep because you don't know if you're asleep or not. If you're asleep, you're just asleep. It's not boring. It
I
just
know,
is
but
what it
like,
is. You're asleep.
I know, but like,
It's restful. It's letting your body just like come down from the day and just rest.
but 8 to 10 hours is a long time out of the
Not
day.
really. It's really not. It's only 8 to 10 hours to get to Hawaii on a plane, and that's like halfway across the world. It's really not a long time.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
God,
what
you sound
people
like
say,
Terry
like,
then.
no, well, I'm just saying, people are like, oh my God, like it's so long. It takes 24 hours to get to Europe. Well, like, yeah, it's on the other side of the planet. How long do you like,
Yeah, I
how
know.
far do you think it should be?
Yeah, I know. It's like everyone thinks Australia's far. Like it's like how we did the interview with Cara before. She's like, Australia's so far. And I'm like, I mean, it's normal for us. I don't know anything
Yes.
different. I've always had to fly that far to
But
go to
this is
another
what I'm
country.
saying. 8 to 10 hours is not that long.
I look, I'm not just, I'm just saying, like, if it works for you, great. And look,
Mm.
to be fair, apparently
And I'm going
sleeping
to
heals you and
continue.
stuff. So,
Yes,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I have become a better sleeper. I do have been taking every now and then those things you gave me that I used to do in Canada.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're good.
I'm gonna give you
Melatonin, that's it.
no, I'm gonna give you Gwyneth Paltrow's Guide to Sleep.
Oh, really? Can we,
Have a
what is
little
it for
spark
a little
notes.
spark to tell the listeners and
Well,
myself, so we can give something back for
well,
people
it's
like me?
interesting. I used to really dislike Gwyneth Paltrow when I was a teenager because I just thought she was just like rich and boring and snobby. But now I really like her because she is really rich.
From Jupe?
And
Is she rich from Jupe? Is that
Goop,
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Goop, yeah.
Goop, sorry?
Yeah, yeah. But I like that she is who she is, right? And she's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, like whatever, I go get my vagina steamed. I'm like, good for you, girl.
Does
Anyway,
she?
mm,
What does that
but
involve?
a
Steaming your
steamer,
vagina.
yeah. Anyway, moving on. But she makes this point, which it's not her point, but I think because she's in the public eye, she pushes this point that like eating clean or exercising or all these things that are good for you, it's really good important to have good sleep hygiene. And what does that mean? It means that you're not like on your phone for hours before you go to sleep, that you're having enough sleep, that while you're asleep, you are truly asleep. You're not in the
Mm,
twilight zone, you're not half awake, you are asleep. And, whether that's for some people, because everyone's different, as you say, like for some people that's 10 hours, for some people that's 6 hours, or four. But if you're asleep for those 4 hours, make sure that you're really asleep. Anyway,
got you. Got you.
so that's sleep hygiene. But I think that Sunny, your New Year's resolution should be to like start sleeping better.
Mm,
Because I'd like to see what happens to you just as an experiment
mm.
if you get there, if you see a change in things.
Maybe I should test it to go to bed 1 hour early every week. So like when next week starts,
Mm,
I'll go. So if I'm going to bed at 1 a.m., I'll go to bed at 12 p.m. And then the
mm,
following week, I'll go 11. And
mm.
then before that, but I can't do anything till after 11. I have way too much on like that I have to do. There's actually not enough time. Like the stuff that I need to do, I wouldn't be able to do it if I was going to bed at like 9 o'clock because I'm actually doing things. That's the thing.
No, I agree. I give myself 1 hour when I get home from work, and then I have to be in bed.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll train myself. No,
But
that could be my
I would
New Year's
I
resolution.
would just like to see what happens. Like if you do get 2 hours more sleep a night,
Hmm.
or if you are in that deep sleep, like
It's
if you
funny you
see a
say that.
difference.
When I took that melatonin a couple of weeks ago, yeah, and I did say
Yes.
this to one of my other friends, Heidi. I said that because she's a person that sleeps probably just as much as you, if so more. She said
Mm,
she could do 12, if she could, she'd do 12 hours.
mm,
Yeah.
love it.
Anyway, I took the melatonin and obviously it put me in a deep sleep. And I said to Heidi that I slept for 8 hours, which I have not done in a very long time, which you probably know,
Mm,
in a long time, like I probably years
yeah.
not that I can remember. And I knew that I slept for that long because when I woke up, it just made me feel more tired for sleeping that long as well. Or is that because my body wasn't used to it?
No, that would have been the melatonin as well. You
Oh,
do get a
okay.
bit of a melatonin hangover.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Mm.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'm gonna start it from
stars,
next
they're just
week. You know
like
what?
us.
I also have an addictive personality, and then
You
we
might
should
get
start.
addicted to
Then we
sleep.
should start doing places. Like I'll take you to the place in the city where we could go. I wanted to go there with Ainsley once. The pod place. We'll
I
hire
love
pods.
those pods.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's
And
go.
pod. We'll get a
Let's get
pod.
into like health and wellness for our New Year's resolution.
I already said let's ride bikes together.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's good exercise.
Mm,
Tones your bum.
mm.
Yeah. we'll go.
Anyway,
We'll go get our fannies steamed.
yeah, I want to. Um,
What?
Merry
What? What?
Christmas to our listeners.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Get your fanny steamed voucher that we're sending out to you from Spilling the Tequila. No, guys, we're going to end it off now. This is our last episode before Christmas and New Year's. Now, we hope everyone from around the world has great time with their family, great time with their friends, or if you're someone, which I've been before, where you don't have family or friends because you're in a country visiting or something, find someone else that's, go online, go onto Bumble or something. You can do Bumble friends and stuff. If you're on vacay, there's ways to do it because it'd be nice to be with someone if you're not with your family or friends for Christmas. But also New Year's Eve, please be safe. Party. Grace and I like to party, but be safe. Be safe with it and just enjoy it before 2024 starts. Anyone, if you want to be on the show or any interviews or any topics you want to talk about, please reach out to us on any of our socials or spillingthetequila@gmail.com. And all that jazz. And you can watch us on YouTube now. All these videos go up on YouTube. So we've got to mention that. The Gen Z people, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That about wraps it up.
I'm probably going to go take a nap now because it's Sunday in Australia. Went to wake up early to this podcast. It's just like, oh, that was my work for the day. Back to bed just for a couple of hours. And her room's like dark, the curtains closed. Like it's literally, if you walk into Grace's room, it's like that is someone who knows how to fucking sleep. Like
It's my sanctuary.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. Oh, you love sleeping. So you were Dakota Fanning or whatever her name is Johnson for sleeping.
Shout out.
Yeah, we're channeling her.
Channeling
All right.
2024. Merry
Guys,
Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
New Year.
Happy New
And we'll see you in
Year.
2024.
Well, my name is Sunny Jones. She is.
Grace Avery.
Thank you for listening to Kilo.
Ciao.